Hello YouTube, this is Silverageddave. I have for you hopefully a money-making tip of the day, or if not money-making, money-saving tip of the day. It pertains to this box here. I'm going to show you. Silver got a call, this is probably about a year ago, from a guy. He lived in Toledo and he was trying to sell some comics, and he found out about me, and so I said, yeah, I'll stop over. And it was kind of an interesting, probably rough neighborhood I shouldn't have been in. But I got in the house. The family was lovely. And it was a mom and a dad who were older than me, and then two sons that I saw. I think there was a third son, and they were all in this one house. Well, as soon as I hit the front door, the smoke just crushed me. I have a little bit of asthma. I'm sensitive to smoke. And man, my lungs started tightening up as soon as I hit that door. And I got in, and they had a couple boxes of comics. There's more than just this, but this one I happened to grab first. And I started going through them, and there were really such nice comics. But I'll tell you what, we're going to open this. This hasn't been opened in a long time. But the comics, the smell was so bad that... and they were all bagged, and there were boards, but man, I can't even begin to tell you. And I said, I really don't think I'm interested, because they're just, first, there's nothing really great here, but there's so much smoke on them, I don't know if I could do anything with them. They really don't fit my collection. And the guy said, well, my wife's making me get rid of all this stuff. Just give me a number, Dave. And I think I said $50. It was no more than that. It might have been 40. And I said, I'll give you that for it. And he said, okay, I'll do that. And I'm going to flip through them while I'm talking. And so he said, hey, by the way, are you interested in Star Wars at all? And I'm going to try to set this here and find a place. And I said, I'm not a big collector, but I always want to take a look. Really, I'm a curious guy. And so he and his sons went way upstairs, and they brought down 3 giant boxes of Star Wars stuff, all in the wrappers, all in original packaging. And this is like from the 90s. I mean, I wasn't even watching Star Wars anymore, maybe 80s, but I think from the 90s. And, but again, I'd hoped, I thought, oh, maybe it's in a closet and it didn't get smoked, but that stuff was as bad as anything. But he had so much, and I have a sister who is a Star Wars expert. And I called her. I'm like, hey, I stepped outside and I called her and I said, hey, what should I do? And she said, well, I'd be interested in the Star Wars stuff, if you can get it cheap enough. And I had already made him an offer, and I offered him, I think, 100 for the Star Wars stuff, for the 3 boxes, based on condition. And he had agreed to it. And so I stepped outside and I said, okay, let me check with my sister. I called her and she said, hey, if you can get it for less than 400, you're doing real good. So I thought, oh, I'm at 100, and it's agreed. So we, his sons were real nice. I backed my van up to the driveway a little bit, and they loaded all the boxes in my van. And I brought this one back to my office. I didn't want to take it home because the smoke smell was so bad. And I brought it to the office, and I thought, oh, I'll get everything out of the bags and boards, and it'll be okay. And I opened them up, and it was so bad. I mean, my lungs were screaming. And I thought, man, Dave, what did you do? And so I ended up researching, and basically I built these chambers. And these books have been in the chamber for a year. That I once about every month, I would come in, and in this other location, I would just open the books up, and I would just fold them. I'd cut the deck to a different place. I knew I had to keep them fairly loose. I had to keep the tops exposed. And here's how the system works: is I bought these tubs. I got 4 matching tubs, and I bought this product. Let me see if I can get to it now that I moved through some books. This product, which is literally, it's a light diffuser. You can buy these at Home Depot or Lowe's. It goes on top of these fluorescent lighting things, and this stuff was really pretty expensive, but you just cut it down with a little cutter. I use tin snips, but you can cut it with whatever you want. It breaks pretty easy. And so what I did is I bought the 4 boxes, I bought enough diffusers, and then if you look on the bottom here, I basically built a shelf, okay, that goes across the bottom. And you might say, hey, it looks like you got rocks in there, Silver. It's like I like the rocks in my head. They're the same rocks. But what those are is those are these. They're volcanic rock. You can buy those also at Home Depot or Lowe's or any like Target or any of those places. And they absorb odor. So if you have pets or like comic books, like I keep them in here in the comic book room because you know old comic books smell. And so my comic room, there's zero smell. That volcanic stuff absorbs everything. And the really cool thing about that product, I'll try to find where I was here. The cool thing about that product is once, like, I take these comics out, I'm going to start bagging and boarding them and store them properly. There is no smell. These books, if there was such a thing as YouTube scratch and sniff, you would smell these things. I would be coughing right now so bad if there was any smell, but you hear that, YouTube? I just smelled it, and I am not coughing. My lungs are fine. The insides of these books smell, let me smell them, smell like old-time books, like they never saw any smoke. And, of course, I'm going to bag and board them, so if there's any type of residual, it's going to get trapped inside Mylar for the older books or, poly for the newer books. But it was really exciting to me because I didn't think it would work. This is my first time doing it. There's a Sandman #1. I can't say enough. I mean, it just worked so very well. I really can't believe it. And it was books that otherwise would have been getting tossed, man, because they were rough. I didn't think they were salvageable. But it goes to show where there's a will, there's a way. I threw a few bucks at it, but now I can go to a flea market or garage sale. I can go anywhere, and if something smells, it worked on this stuff, and it worked great. I checked today on the Star Wars stuff. You can't tell there was ever any smoke. So once I'm done getting all this stuff out of there, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the stone from the bottom, and all you got to do is you got to lay it out in the sun for a few hours. Let the sun work on it for a few hours. And they're back to new, and you could put them anywhere and they're going to absorb. So I had a little bit of investment in the system, but when I'm done, I'm going to stack the boxes, inside each other, put the lids and the diffusers, put all that stuff in whatever the top one is, and seal them up. And if I come across a collection like this again, I'm frankly going to do the same thing. I'm going to offer the people nothing because that was really the value of the books when I found them. And I'm going to, put them in the system. I'm going to store them for a year, just, out of sight, out of mind. I'm going to let the volcanic stuff do its work, and it's going to come out great. And now they're beautiful books, okay? They're not, some of them are in real nice condition. Some of them are a little bit loved, but it's okay because I'm going to add these into the collection. They're going to fit in just perfect like they belong. And we're going to be pretty happy moving forward. So what I'll do is once I get these split off, you've kind of seen some of them, but if memory serves me, there's some other good stuff in here. And so we'll go through it together. I'll make a separate haul video. Maybe that'll be another 10 minutes or whatever. But I don't know. You've seen the stuff that's in here so far. It's not all going to be 12 and 15 centers, not by any means, but you've seen what's in here. Would you pay $50 for this tub? I think I'm pretty darn happy with it. Once the smell's out of everything, that's not too shabby. So hopefully you enjoyed the tip today. It's probably not for everybody. You got to have the space to do this, and you got to have the resource to make the initial investment. But once you have it, it works, okay? And if it works for comic books, frankly, it's going to work for other stuff too. Got the smell out. I'm real happy with it. And, like I said, they're not all beauties. That one's a little beat. But that's all right. Everyone needs a reader. Captain America 112. And I got my monster stuff. You know, I don't know if there's war stuff in here. Really, I can't remember. I haven't seen these books in a year. And I didn't spend a lot of time dwelling on them initially because I really wasn't going to buy them. Anyway, that is the long Silverageddave tip of the day. And boy, I can't stop myself. All right, I'm stopping there. We'll see the rest of the stuff next time. YouTube, this is Silverageddave. Get the smell out. Tip of the day. I'm out.